I got a bit to do.
Jesus.
When I point to you,
Yeah.
I want you to give me like a blood-curdling scream
Okay.
while I tweak my nipple.
Okay.
Give me a blood-curdling scream.
You said when you point to me, you're not pointing to me. I don't know how to do it. Oh.
Well, I also... Oh! That's really good. Alternatively, you can also do like kind of like a bad scream, like a ah, like the little fat kid from Bad Santa. That's what I'm thinking of. Ah!
Okay.
But I like the first one you did is preferable.
Well, that one hurt, and I can't do it again.
You. This is what I was working on for the last 3 hours while I was sitting on your patio drinking beers and waiting for you to get here after your tennis match against
That makes me sound like an asshole.
Go Padal or whatever the fuck his name. Okay.
After your tennis match.
I have to do a voice for this too. It's not Billy Crystal. It's not Morgan Freeman. It's out of my wheelhouse. I hope I deliver it.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back, Deathmatch nobodies! On tonight's episode, your horrid hosts, Steve Ballbreath and Eric Couvafear, deconstruct the night merits of Evil Dead 2 Death by Dawn! A ghastly gore fest of demons, decapitations, and dismemberments, oh my! Our protagonist, Ash Williams, as played by Bruce Campbell, finds himself in a cabin in the woods with a ghoulish girlfriend who gifts him with guilt after he's given the grisly gig of butchering his blushing bride-to-be. Ash also has to annihilate and then accessorize his appendage with a chainsaw. Hey folks, let's give him a hand! And so begins a spine-chilling new episode of Nobody's Deathmatch. Little do our hosts know that one of them will be dead by dawn! Frights! Camera! Action!
You enjoyed that?
I enjoyed that thoroughly, truly, madly, deeply. So was that just straight up Crypt Keeper, or was that like an amalgamation of?
That wasn't me. That was Crypt Keeper.
Oh,
I licensed the Crypt
legitimately
Keeper.
was.
I licensed the Crypt Keeper for this episode, and $20 well spent.
Yeah,
That motherfucker really likes alliteration, doesn't he?
he does.
What's scary about alliteration? Nothing's scary about that. I want to enter into a new segment of the podcast called Full Disclosure.
I wonder what this is.
Full frontal disclosure. That's what it's called.
Okay. FFD.
Listeners, i.e.
Mary.
Meredith, Kyle Webb, my father, and random people from Egypt, we love you all. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Continue to listen. Full frontal disclosure to you. We're recording this podcast under unusual circumstances. There's a pink elephant in the room to speak of, Steve, in the shape of a broken heart. A pink broken heart.
Yeah.
And listeners, all four of you plus Egypt, we're recording this on a hot evening of October, and just 2 days ago, broke up with my girlfriend, and still pretty raw, still pretty difficult to process, but rather than going home and just moping around the old one-bedroom apartment, cue montage of me just being sad and smelling a hair doll of said girlfriend and drinking and crying, masturbating. Rather than doing that, I decided to stay in Santa Barbara and record a podcast with the good Steve Galbraith to be productive and, what do they say? Pain plus time equals comedy.
Sure.
So I think 2 days of pain gets you maybe 2 minutes of comedy. I think that's the algorithm.
See if you can find the 2 minutes, listeners, in this 58-minute podcast.
So we're not going to talk about it in detail or whatever, but I just wanted it to be said that that's an underlying thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Send your heartfelt sympathies to Eric at
Yeah,
Sensitive
actually,
Boy.
the Sensitive Boy URL that we bought is suddenly very appropriate.
Super
I thought
app.
it was some joke we were making. Mm-hmm. But it was a self-prophecy.
Yeah.
Who knew that one day I would become the Sensitive Boy, capital T, capital S, capital B.
Yeah.
Listeners, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, Eric, why do we care? Wait, what is it? Why are you telling us about your personal problems? Why we came here to listen to the movie podcast. We want to know what you guys have to say about Evil Dead 2 because both of you have such excellent insights. Turn in the Crypt Keeper for a second.
Yeah, at the end. He's in you.
And here's the segue, Steve.
Okay. Your heart is a crypt.
My heart is a crypt. Death of a relationship equals Evil Dead 2. Lots of death happens.
Okay.
Death, and his girlfriend dies.
Sure.
So it's in the. There's a theme.
Yeah.
Also, we're in October. Halloween.
Yep.
Death. Dead by Dawn. And just.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the death in the air, in this hot October air. Real sunny.
But let's
and
get to
spooky.
the real matter at hand. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Why Evil
Thanks to-
Dead 2, you might ask? Why not Evil Dead 1?
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that myself. Why did we choose that one?
Well, because that's what we had on DVD.
All right. Did you watch the other two, or have you ever seen the other two?
I've seen the other two. I've seen Army of Darkness a lot,
Yeah.
so I didn't really need to watch that. I wanted to watch Evil Dead 1, but I didn't get around to it. From what I remember about it, it's the same as Evil Dead 2. It's like Evil Dead 2 is almost like a remake.
Yeah.
It's another
It
cabin
is.
in the
It's
woods thing.
It's pretty weird, and like I'm glad so here's here's what I ended up doing. I watched Evil Dead 2 with a pretty severe hangover.
Great.
And was just like really cranky the whole time and didn't like it at all. And I was like, well, that's not fair. I should watch it again. So I watched it again, blitzed.
Yeah,
And who says blitzed anymore?
50-year-old man.
And I liked it a little bit more then, but then I ended up watching also because I was just like, this wasn't the point of this podcast is to watch movies that we watched as kids, and like Evil Dead 2, like not a whole lot of it resonated. I was like, well, this isn't what I remember.
Yeah.
So I went back and watched Evil Dead 1, which I remembered watching as like
Yeah.
a teenager more so, and then I also watched Army of Darkness like you.
Yeah.
I think that was like the main one that I saw.
Totally.
And
Because
again,
it's more comedic anyway, so it makes more sense.
I don't
for a
think I
kid.
watched it. I don't think I watched any of them until I don't know, probably like age 16 or 17 when I'm like going over to my friend's house for sleepovers and we're watching like Idle Hands with Devon Sawa, double feature with Evil Dead 1, and then also the my girlfriend at that time, she was kind of affiliated with like the Stagies. Do you know what Stagies are?
Stagies?
Stagies.
Like people who are in plays and stuff? Like theater people?
People who hang out by the...
Oh, by the stage. Not on the
Yes.
stage.
No.
Great.
So perhaps a better nomer for them would be by the Stagies.
Right.
That's where they eat their lunch. But they're kind of just like
Theater groupies.
They were theater groupies, or just like the kids who were like wearing trench coats and like might be generalized as being like Columbiners or something.
They listen to Nine Inch Nails. Yeah.
9 Inch Nails.
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
They're kind of goth, but they're nerdy goth.
Yes.
We had those.
So that was her. That was her. Her posse, and they kind of reintroduced me to Evil Dead. Like I think I went over to like one of their house parties one time, and they were like watching just like I think they just watched all of the Evil Deads or whatever, and that was kind of my reintroduction to it. So like I've always liked the Evil Dead mythology as far as Ash Campbell and his he's got some good one-liners. He's like this. He's sure played Duke Nukem.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have a theory that Duke Nukem was like a ripoff of Ash Campbell because he like says groovy the same way.
Oh,
do you know? Yeah. And he just like it's like kind of gruff and everything. Mm-hmm. But Ash Campbell.
You're saying Ash Campbell? You're thinking of Bruce Campbell.
Edit this into the full frontal disclosure segment, listeners. I've had 7 beers. I'm on my 8th right now. So basically, any sentence, any string of words that I can,
wow, perfect illustration.
String together into a functional sentence. It's a
miracle.
It's a national treasure. It's a achievement for humanity. It's an Apollo mission that I'm going on. I'm Tom Hanks, boomeranging around the moon, trying to get home.
Yeah.
I'm a good person.
You know what that's called? That's called a gravity assist.
What's that?
And there's
I don't know why I said it like that. What's it?
There's a movie that recently came out that uses that.
I don't want to talk about Sandra Bullock. That was no.
No, that's not. Never mind.
First thoughts on Evil Dead 2. Steve, the floor is yours. I will tell you when the red light turns on. Oh, folks, he's...
Am I waiting for the red light to turn on?
No, I said when it will turn off. Wait, did I? Did I say turn on or turn off?
Does the red light indicate that I can speak?
No.
Or does it indicate that I'm done?
The red light. The red light is for... like political debates, they turn on the red light once you have like 10 seconds left.
All right? I don't watch those.
So you have the... You just watch Adventure Time on demand.
And then I vote.
Yeah. It's just like constantly write-ins of like
Finn the Human.
Ice King or whatever.
Yeah.
Finn the Human. Yeah.
Hey, come on, I'd vote for Ice King? What are you talking about?
Who would you vote for of Adventure Time?
To like rule over
me? God's nation. Yeah.
God's nation. Oh man. There's no one in that show that's like really that sane.
You don't think Bubblegum Princess is sane?
Oh, perfect. And she's a natural ruler already. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, she gets a little eccentric sometimes, but she would keep us safe.
Who would be her vice president? Cinnabon or whatever the fuck his name is.
That guy's a fucking idiot.
He's an idiot, right?
Ugh. Get out of here with
your
him.
vice president is supposed to be kind of an idiot a little bit, right?
I guess historically. It's Finn, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Or Jake.
Oh, what's the female vampire's name?
Marceline.
Marceline. I think she would be good in some cabinet position.
That might be sticky though, because Marceline has a crush on Bubblegum Princess.
I don't remember that.
She's like sexual tension.
Well, we'll put her like 3 degrees away or something. They won't ever be in the same room.
Okay, yeah.
Those women.
I'm glad we got that figured out.
Those women, man.
Thoughts on Evil Dead? Going into it, I thought it would be a little more comedic, I guess. Because in my head, this whole time, I just imagined Evil Dead 1 was like super gory.
Yeah.
Pretty campy, like a little bit of comedy, but mostly just because the claymation gore was just so ridiculous.
Totally.
And then Evil Dead 2 got like a little more funny, and then Army of Darkness. And then Army of Darkness
is like the campiest, right?
was like the funniest. Yeah, like with each one, there's
like
a little more humor and a little less horror, I guess.
Army of Darkness has the most like good wisecracks from Ash or whatever, you know? Like that's where he's like actually like referring to his shotgun as his boomstick and all that kind of stuff. And it probably has the best writing, but I also don't. I kind of like it like the least almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So going back and watching Evil Dead 1 and all, you know, the rest of them, I kind of discovered the character arc of Ash, even though Evil Dead 1, so watching Evil Dead 1, you mentioned the kind of the shitty claymation that just like goes on for too long.
So much pink blood.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's like the goriest probably of all of them. But in that, I kind of like it the best of all of them because in that one, Ash, I don't know why I call him Ash Campbell, whatever.
What's his real last name?
Ash Williams. Doesn't really sound.
I mean, his fake last name.
Yeah. So Ash, in that one, he's kind of a nincompoop, and like he basically survives just out of being somewhat cowardly. Like there's multiple instances of him just being like a bookcase falling over on him and like him being trapped underneath and not being able to do anything while everybody else is like fucking dealing with the situation. And then he eventually gets out of the bookcase and helps out and all that.
It's not very heroic.
He doesn't. I don't think Evil Dead 1 he gets the chainsaw. Actually, I think he. How does he survive? I forget how that one ends or whatever.
Bookcase shield.
Yes. But then Evil Dead 2, he kind of develops more and is like more. There's more machismo going on at the end of the movie, at least. But then by the time of Army of Darkness, he's basically like super developed action hero.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
The first one, he goes to the cabin with a group of friends.
That was the other thing I liked. Yeah, Evil Dead 1, he's with a group of friends, and there's kind of like the secondary characters are like kind of better developed and more interesting than Evil Dead 2, because Evil Dead 2 it's like
2 minutes and then she gets murdered.
Well, here's the thing too. So they made Evil Dead 2 basically because like Evil Dead 1 had a really positive response and they're like, "Oh, we can do this again with a better budget." But they didn't have the licensing rights to like show like clips from Evil Dead 1 to kind of like catch people up to speed. So that's why they basically just like do this crazy like hard fast cold open of like, here's Ash, here's his girlfriend, they're at the cabin, and girlfriend gets possessed, she's dead, he has to kill her, blah blah blah. My brain.
Oh no.
If I speak longer for 20 seconds, then I lose track of what I was wanting to say.
That's your
What are we talking about?
Personal red light. We're talking about Evil Dead 2.
And who are you? I want to finish my thought, though.
I know you do.
Help me out.
While you think of it,
Help me out.
Help me out.
Help me.
Hey, help me out.
Remember when I did that Crypt Keeper bit and fucking killed it? This whole episode's gonna ride on the coattails of my Crypt Keeper bit.
Hey,
I can call it in for the rest of this episode.
help me out.
there it is.
How do you pronounce that?
Like
What
I
I
just
said.
pronounced it.
What did I say?
GIF.
Okay, but I'm like recalling a time where I said,
GIF.
which is how you pronounce it.
No.
Yes. Who's in my fruit cellar? Remember her?
Fruit seller?
Yeah, that's what she
Is that
says.
actually in the movie?
That's what she says.
I feel like I would have remembered that.
Fucking Henrietta, man.
Fruit seller.
Henrietta is the mother of
Yeah,
the fucking chick.
the fucking chick.
She's trapped in the fruit cellar. She's been possessed. She's a demon. She's a succubus. She's a real heinous bitch, and she's trapped in the fruit cellar.
Yeah. I'd be
Um,
heinous too if I was trapped in a fruit cellar.
Yeah, I think of all the demons of anybody who gets possessed, Henrietta I would say is the scariest,
Yeah.
and partly because
She's not attractive.
she's not attractive. Yeah, I think she has the best makeup of any of like the demons' corpses or whatever, and probably the creepiest part of this movie is when. Well, I kind of want to back up for a second. So let's introduce the other characters that we're dealing with. There's Ash. There's his girlfriend Linda, who very shortly into this movie dies.
Yes.
Oh, P.S. That was another thing I noticed when I was watching all of the Evil Dead movies is that Linda progressively gets hotter. Like in Evil Dead 1, it's like the most like podunk version of Linda. I'm just like, oh,
Wow.
God. Rather fuck a sheep in the boonies than this Linda. Evil Dead 2,
Give me a lot of editing on this one.
nothing. Flawless.
Close.
Evil Dead 2, Linda is like, whatever. I can lay my eyes on her and not be revolted. Army of Darkness, they just have a quick, like it's like Linda does not have any lines. They just show her, here she is, and like it's just like a catch up or whatever. Played by Bridget Fonda, who's got like a manic pixie dream girl haircut, and she is fucking fine. The hottest of the Lindas.
Yeah.
Bridget Fonda. Bridget!
Grade A Linda.
Top choice Linda.
Beef round Linda. Listeners, you might have seen a preview for an upcoming show on the Stars Network. A series based on Evil Dead called Ash versus the Evil Dead? Ash versus Evil Dead? And it looks fantastic. So look how timely our podcast is.
Whoa.
Look how timely.
It's like we have our fingers on the pulsations of the social media.
Yeah. It's like I'm friends with Sam Raimi.
Yeah. Are you?
I fucking wish. He's fucking awesome, though. I want to talk about the cinematography, like the shots.
Yeah.
The shots are insane. They're
I
like
know.
frantic and crazy, and like I don't know. Was anybody moving the camera like that or doing that kind of weird speed?
I don't think so, but
Stuff
yeah,
like
that was the
before
best part
he
of
was?
Evil. Yeah, that was my favorite part of Evil Dead 2. Basically, was just like the camera basically just like chasing through the woods and
Yeah.
like to represent basically the ghost, because that's like way more. That's way more representative and way more spooky than actually seeing the ghost or
Right.
seeing the demon or the spirit or whatever. It's like just being you're forced to be in like inside its being as it's traveling
Yeah,
through.
right.
The tree boughs and all
And
that.
that like the. I just think like so many of the shots I thought were brilliant, and the thing is the way the camera moved and the different angles and the weird depth that you like couldn't get a hold of, and like the varied effects. Like some of the effects were dioramas, some were puppets, some were like there's a little claymation. There was so much going on that it like disoriented you.
Yeah.
And like there was like a dissonance there that
Yeah.
I felt like contributed to the horror or like just the overall like theme of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, and I think in addition to the camera work, my other favorite part of the movie is Bruce Campbell, basically just his like his one man play of like having to like pretend like his hand is possessed and like
Oh my God.
and fighting his own hands, and
He's so good
also
at
like
it.
looking into the mirror and like strangling himself and stuff. He was like phenomenal at that. I
Yeah.
felt like that's like really hard, I think, to act that way too.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be like almost trite if you tried it.
And he injects it with just the right amount of like goofiness or like self-awareness. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know this is like goofy,
Yeah.
but I'm still like giving it my all. It's so good.
I want to get back to Henrietta, the creepy demon woman who's in the cellar, but I think to preface it very quickly. So in Evil Dead 2, the main characters are Ash, and then his girlfriend who dies very quickly, and then also the Annie, who is the daughter of the researcher of the Necromonicon, and her boyfriend, I want to say Ed, and then also two like local meth heads who are just like living in the forest,
Yeah.
named Bobby Joe. Or wait, Bobby Joe and Jake. They just come out of the woodwork.
Uh-huh.
They're like, "Hey, you guys got a haunted house over there? We'll come out there. We'll participate in your haunting."
Pretty good.
You like it?
As usual. Spot on.
Um,
And the researcher was the person who was there before Ash got to the cabin.
Correct. So
The
he was the one.
researcher-
He was the one who was researching this like Book of the Dead, and he leaves his tapes behind of him, like basically reading and commenting on the.
And summoning.
Yeah, basically. And that's kind of the other thing that pissed me off about Evil Dead 2. So Evil Dead 1, it's like a very slow burn as far as like they get there. There's like some creepy shit that happens with like one of the college friends, and there's like some voiceover or whatever of like she's just like brushing her hair, and there's like a voice that says join us.
Yeah.
And it's like it's building the terror, and they eventually discover the tape, like the professor's tape in the basement or whatever, and then play it, and that's like what summons all the fucking hell shit. But in Evil Dead 2, they just like it's just like left out, like it's a half-eaten bowl of cantaloupe or something. They just like leave it out on the table, and they come into the cabin and just immediately play the tape, and
Yeah. It's very
I don't-
quick.
I don't like that.
I wrote down Ash is possessed within 8 minutes. So 8 minutes into the movie and Ash is already possessed.
Yeah, it's one of the issues I have with Evil Dead 2 is that he gets possessed, and he has some weird ability to switch back and forth between being possessed and not possessed, while everybody else, like once they've gotten bit by one of the demons, it's a done deal.
He's special.
Video game.
They had an Evil Dead video game and you could switch between being possessed and not being possessed. And if you
Like by
weren't
choice?
if you weren't
weird.
possessed, you like had your shotgun and your chainsaw, and if you were possessed, you could like leap
You just
around and
claw
claw
people.
people. Yeah.
That's crazy. What system was that for?
I think it was just on PC. Like 90s PCs.
That sounds really fun. I want to play that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Fuck this podcast.
What I wanted, a question that's really been in my craw that I've been wanting to ask you this entire time, Steve, is what would you do if you found yourself at a cabin with your romantic lover, and she becomes possessed, and there's clearly like evil forces at large, and you're all alone, and you have to figure out what to do. Because I think like again, it's like it's a crazy thought to have like the person you love the most turn into a demon who is possessed and wants to destroy you essentially. Like, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I've thought of that with other movies too, because it's a pretty common trope, right?
Yeah.
Like Shaun of the Dead, or like lots of zombie movies too, and the person can the person can never like shoot right away, or there's like that moment where they're like
and that's what I wanted to. Again, I left Henrietta on the burner or whatever, but the creepiest part of this whole movie is when she like momentarily turns back into normal Henrietta, and
Singing.
and Annie is like looking at her. That's her daughter, and Henrietta is singing the Mockingbird song or whatever.
Yeah.
like in a very eerie way, but it's like so deep seated in Annie's subconscious that she's like momentarily like, oh, this is my mother or whatever.
Yeah.
And then eventually she's like flips the switch and she's like, oh, it's a fucking succubus downstairs, man. Gotta destroy her.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So what do you? As I was watching the movie, I kept thinking like, I don't think I would be able to cut off my own hand. I don't think I would be able to assemble a chainsaw to my dismembered wrist, and then attack my demonic girlfriend and anyone else who came to take collection or whatever.
You'd be surprised under duress what you're capable of. I think. Maybe we should check that out later.
Yep. Do you have a personal experience you want to share about when you went to Camp Keep and had to like kill the other kids?
You know, the rush of adrenaline and fighting for your life, self-preservation. You can get crazy.
I guess, but when it's like your loved one, your significant other, like
Yeah, I'm sure there would be a moment of hesitation. Maybe. I don't know. I can't guarantee I'll hesitate. That person is no longer that person.
so in this mythology,
It's a demon inside the body of
you're
your
Ash.
loved ones.
You're Ash, okay?
Yeah.
Linda is like
finally.
Linda is like your hottest lady ever or something.
Okay, got it.
Do you make it to Army of Darkness? Do you like make it to the point where you've like got chainsaw as an arm and you're like in the medieval times, or do you only make it to Evil Dead 1 where you're then possessed and you don't come back from that?
I think I drive up in Evil Dead 1 to the cabin and get creeped out and drive home. That's Steve Ash right there.
Steve Ash.
I think you could do it.
You go get some froyo instead?
Yeah.
Extra sprinkles?
Not too many sprinkles, though. It upsets my tummy. I could picture you shoving a chainsaw onto your bloody nub.
I think I'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
I like to think so.
I'd like to think so.
One of many parts that I didn't like about Evil Dead 2. So, again, it's building off of Evil Dead 1, where there's, like, the evil spirit also kind of encompasses the dark forest surrounding the cabin. So, like, you could be like, oh, let's get out of this fucking cabin because it's haunted or whatever. But then you're just, like, in a horrible forest where the branches... horrible forest where the branches are, like, grabbing at you.
Yeah.
And all that. There goes that memory again. Hold on.
That was about 20 seconds.
Hold on. In Evil Dead 2, what I didn't like is that I like the weird forest shit as far as like you can't escape this cabin because like you're not safe anywhere. The bridge is out. You have no escape. Evil Dead 2, what I didn't like is that it ends with the trees like attacking the house. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
It was like a fucking M. Night Shyamalama ding dong goddamn The Happening. Didn't care for it.
Trees went too far.
Thoughts? Tree.
I wasn't. The trees didn't grind my gears. I was fine. Fine with them. I mean, you're gonna draw the line there. Like, Henrietta's.
I think my argument
fine.
is that Evil Dead 1 is far superior to Evil Dead 2. And they didn't need to make Evil Dead 2.
Interesting
It's
argument.
on the record.
But Evil Dead 2 did so much in the way of the cinematography and stuff, introducing that style. Because Evil Dead 1 didn't have
Yeah, it did.
as much of that.
It did.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well. It's the end of that conversation. It was
Also,
impressive.
Evil Dead
though.
1 versus Evil Dead 2. Mm-hmm. Evil Dead 1, there's better acting, but the makeup sucks. Like they had the shittier makeup. Evil Dead 2, makeup gets better, acting gets worse. Especially with Annie, who is like the worst fake screamer ever.
Yeah, she's pretty bad.
When she's like god damn it, I fucking. Ugh. I want to. Hold on. Pause. I'm gonna take a break for a second.
Lay your head down.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Is that what you're gonna wear out?
No, I'm gonna change to black jeans.
Black jeans and that same shirt? I think that's a good choice. What shoes? I think you should change to the black jeans. Well, I'm gonna be wearing black jeans too. I have a whole outfit planned out for tonight.
Black jeans, bros.
Alright.
Should I do it right now?
You're comfortable. You don't need to do it right now. I mean, I have to get gussied up. I'm either gonna shower because like I have like fucking like comb over hair right now. I'm just like all crazy and shit.
You look pretty awesome.
I want to go to a sushi place where I don't have to wear a shirt. This is like the best time of my life.
Yeah, you look good.
I look good.
You look good.
I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow, by the way.
Finishing that one, or
No,
oh,
a new one.
What
Yeah,
is it?
One of those. One of those impulsive fuck you tattoos.
Is it gonna be live free or die hard or something? No one can cage this bird.
Keep going.
Keep going.
What do you... Welcome back, listeners. We've had some real Dr. Phil breakthroughs tonight. Steve, what do you think about the what do you think about the level of gore in this movie? As far as like, so when one of my favorite parts is when Henrietta captures one of the I think it's Ed. No, it's somebody. She pulls down somebody into her cellar, and there's just like a Jaws-esque amount of blood. They're just like, here comes the fire hose kind of shit coming out of there. You know, you never saw UHF, so you don't get that reference, but fuck you. Fuck you softly.
Fuck you very much.
And this, fire hose level of blood, like, just squirts out of the cellar door.
Yeah,
Donnie Darko, anybody?
very good.
Turns chin to ceiling in some sort of prideful gesture, but there is no God.
Not in this house.
What do you think about the level of gore in Evil Dead 2?
I think it was just fine.
Check, please.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it fit the tone pretty well. It wasn't like ridiculously like Monty Python levels of like blood geysers or anything.
Is Evil Dead 2 the one where, because again, I'm like confusing all three movies at once because, you know my condition. Is this the one where he, I think it is. I think his hand is like kind of like prancing and dancing around behind the wall.
Yeah.
And then he shoots the wall and like gets it.
Yeah.
But then just like this geyser of blood just like
soaks him.
I like it. I really like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it scratches a nice spot on my brainstem where I'm just like,
They did a good job keeping it up because, like I mentioned before, 8 minutes in, Ash is possessed. Like it moves fast. And at that point, I was thinking, how are they going to keep this up for another hour and a half?
Yeah.
And they do. I think they keep like suspense up, even though it's kind of like the same thing over and over. Like the demon comes and you narrowly escape with your life, or maybe someone dies.
So he like climbs out of the cellar after having a encounter with Henrietta, and it's very Last Action Hero. It's very supposed to be like, oh, dude, Ash is a fucking badass. He got out of the cellar. Mm-hmm. You remember what he says? I'll tell you what he says if you don't remember.
Yeah, please.
Let's go. Fuck you, Ash. Let's go.
That was Keanu voice, by the way. You fucked up. Let's go. Yeah, it's not very good.
He's a piece of shit. No. Evil Dead 2 ends with a pretty balls to the wall scene of like a demon head at the front door. You remember that? What do you think of that demon head, by the way?
It reminded me of Poltergeist a little bit.
How so?
Just a giant head.
All right, what are you talking about in Poltergeist?
Giant demon head. Edit it out.
No, I want to hear.
I thought that happened in Poltergeist, like the ultimate Geist.
Like
was,
the stage boss or the boss stage? Boss stage?
I thought that happened in Poltergeist. I've only seen it once, so I don't know.
I thought you and I watched Poltergeist together and then we
That
fell
was the
asleep
one time.
in each other's arms.
I asked you not to speak about
I liked the demon head. That was fine. I didn't like how... Oh, wait. This is kind of a... Oh, God. Do we have to do trivia?
Yeah.
All right. I'll save it for trivia.
Yeah, save it.
And I think my last note is I don't care for any movies that take place in medieval times. Like I don't care about knights. I don't care for sword fights. I don't care for armor. It's fucking clunky. I don't care for castles. They're fucking blocky. And I don't care for drawbridges. I do not care for harems. I do care for the harems that have their bustiers cleavage in a will you stop looking at my nipples while I'm describing this?
You're pointing at your nipples, you realize. Just looking where you're pointing, Betty.
What is that called? The Game of Thrones chicks wear, like what? Like just
Corsets?
Corsets.
Hot damn.
Care for those corsets? Hot damn.
So that's
don't
Army
care-
of Darkness though. So you don't
So
like.
Army of Darkness, I don't like. As a movie, it's good. It's good writing and everything, but I don't really like the environment. I don't.
Did you have an experience when you were younger with a medieval themed?
I was molested by a knight
Oh boy,
and a castle.
just went right for it, didn't you? Graceless at 7.
Trivia.
Wait, I have
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I thought Bruce Campbell's acting was really good in Evil Dead 2 because when he experiences like severe trauma, like he's shaken up. Like you look, so many of these horror movies, like these people experience these things that would like fucking rock you to the bone, and then they're just like doing stuff and like very able. But he was like shaky. He was like barely able to walk sometimes. His like face just looked all distorted and like disturbed and stuff. I don't know. I appreciated that.
He's a good actor.
Realism.
Again, what did he do after Evil Dead other than he did one where he's like he plays Elvis Presley.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, I didn't watch that all the way through.
It was weird
Yeah, it was weird.
and not that good.
It's kind of weird though. Doesn't it seem like he should be like a major dude? It's alright, you can read your notes and not listen.
I'm pulling an error here.
Here you are. I am you and you are me.
I wish he was in a ton of stuff. I thought he was in like a little bit of TV at some point.
I bet he did some voice acting. It seems like he has a good voice for that shit.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some good Bruce Campbell, some good Ash quotes from Army of Darkness?
Yeah, please. Oh, I have one more thing to say after what you
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Also, this is the best one. Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. You ain't leading but two things right now. Wait, hold on. Jack and shit. And Jack's left town. End quote.
yeah.
I like Ash.
I like Ash too. I wanted to mention one more thing. The whole like getting geared up shots where like it zooms in on each individual item and the sound is like really present and it's like
It's really cool.
cranking and ratcheting and stuff like that. Maybe that's the first time that anyone did that because you see it later in like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Like all those movies, they do it like the exact same shots.
Well, it's the same. Yeah, on that same note too. Like when the professor, the guy, the anthropologist who's like read the Book of the Dead and did his little tapes and all that. He comes back like kind of as a spirit, but right before that, they have these like cool camera takes of like. I think it's supposed to represent like his ghost coming into like our realm, and it sinks in on like a corner of the room. It sinks in on like the rafter of the house, and there's just like weird noises going on and stuff. And I don't know. I thought that was pretty solid.
I like it too.
Hey, Sam Raimi, nice job. Actually, nice job, cinematographer / audio
Technician.
butthole. All right.
But
I think my favorite part of that movie is actually when he's at the cemetery and he's like trying to figure out which book to take, and there's 3 books.
no one
There's
said
one-
anything about 3 books.
Yeah, there's. I think like he grabs one that just like sucks his face in, so then he has like a Beetlejuice kind of claymation face for a little bit.
Yeah.
There's one that just like bites his hand,
Yeah.
and he gets to do some of his Evil Dead 2
There's
shenanigans.
so much like getting bit and like
totally. Well, yeah, because Evil
not
Dead
letting go.
2, Evil Dead 2, I think is where Linda's decapitated head bites him on the fingers,
Yep.
and he has to like flick her off and stuff, and he does the same shit in Armored Darkness. They're like, "Hey, we struck gold with this with this bit. Let's fucking double down on it." Sam Raimi, I'm calling you out, Sam Raimi.
when he's trying
I don't have a trivia song.
We never do. We just hum something and then I try to synth it out.
Okay. So we're thinking Halloween. We're thinking evil. I don't think you can synth that. Oh wait, What's the Halloween song sound like? You know, from like Mike Myers.
Oh, it's like
Edit in Halloween synthesized piano
can't use
music
the-
right now.
we can't use
Yes,
the
we
Halloween.
can. We're not making any fucking money off of this. We can do whatever we want.
you aren't. I've been getting sponsored like crazy.
You know, what do you got?
Vans?
I noticed your Adidas high socks. I think we have a trivia song in there. Segway trivia. Oh
Jesus.
God. That was good.
I kind of scared myself for a
I'm
second.
terrified right now. I hope Meredith gets here soon.
What if my head just like started to turn around on my body?
Oh my God.
Oh my god. Steve. Remember Meat Boy?
Well, they already ruined one of those trivia questions.
Meat Boy.
Big boy.
You just put the meat down there, boy. Get into character, come on. If you could see his face right now. Getting into character.
I want the samples of the meat boy. Meat boy.
Meat Boy, where are you? Meat Boy.
Meat boy, Mr. Ferguson isn't home right now. You can stay as long as you want. Do you want coffee or tea or meat? Meat is.
Wow.
What author?
Eric's one-act play, Meat Boy.
What author loved Evil Dead 1 so much?
Stephen King.
Ding, ding, ding!
That's right, really?
Yes! Why? You motherfucker!
What's the rest of the question?
He like got his I think one of his books was being made into a movie at that time, and he got the producer to finance Evil Dead 2. So that was a major reason why Evil Dead 2 got made, is because of Stephen King.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so Stephen King liked Evil Dead 1 so much he financed Evil Dead 2?
I don't think he personally financed it, but he was basically like,
He got
hey,
a
Mr. Producer Man,
Oh.
Titty Twister, Noogie,
Obscure.
I wanted a wedgie.
Yeah, sure.
I tried to gesture it, and I knocked my microphone out. I only have like 2 more trivia questions.
That's fine.
You've gotten 1 right so far.
I'm 1 for 1. I like this.
Did they film this movie in an actual forest? True or falso?
¿Es verdad o es falso?
Oh, that was good. I'd listen to you on headphones.
For 7th grade Spanish class? My gut tells me yes,
Wrong.
but
No.
my brain tells me that you wouldn't be asking if it was yes.
No. They filmed.
Some of the
They filmed most of it
Gliding.
in a junior high school gym in Wadesboro, North Carolina. Why did the demons in Evil Dead 2 bleed these weird colors like green and black rather than red like they did in Evil Dead 1? I'm glad I closed with this one. It's probably the most interesting one.
there's a real reason beyond it just like looking more demonic or something.
Yeah. Wait, can we play 2001 Space Odyssey right now?
I know you want to so bad. So yes.
Do you want to do high or low?
I can't do high.
Okay. Do low.
How low?
Ooh.
I wish that was the time that Meredith walked in and slowly backed out. I'm gonna say that the blood that was like loaded into their squibs, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Very good.
Or whatever, was actually red, but like the makeup they used, or there was some reaction and it like turned it black or green.
It's a fucking retarded answer.
Oh, don't say retarded.
Rewrite.
Okay.
So that's a fucking thoughtless answer. Did you even think about the consequences of your answer?
Let me answer again then. Because it was cheaper than red blood.
They were trying. So Evil Dead 1 surprisingly got an NC-17 rating.
Ah, yes.
And they were like, that was one of their things. They were like, we're gonna try to like just get an R rating, and we'll have the demon blood be pastel or whatever.
Right.
We'll have the demon blood be GAC basically. It's gonna be a double dare episode of demon blood, and they were hoping for the R rating. They ended up getting an X rating.
Are you serious?
Yeah, which is even worse than NC-17.
Just from violence?
I guess, from gore and stuff.
Wait, Evil Dead 1?
This is the Reagan
You're
years.
talking about 1? Evil Dead 1?
Evil Dead 1 got an NC-17, so they were trying to,
Oh, okay.
make it more mainstream than Evil Dead 1, but they ended up getting an X rating.
So, Eric, final thoughts on Evil Dead 2 and how it compares to watching it as a young buck.
That was a young buck?
Yeah. Little young buck.
Oh, my God. As a young buck, I loved the Evil Dead trilogy and mythology, and that was partly due to being 420 squibbed all the time. And
420 squibbed.
and yeah, just being a little stoner kid, and like here's
Here's the church.
here's the sequel. At the same time that I'm watching Evil Dead and Idle Hands double feature, I'm just like getting like stoned out of my gourd and playing in my friend's backyard with soccer balls that are doused in lighter fluid and lit on fire, kicking them while we're jumping on trampolines. It was a real Circus Soleil. And I was an idiot back then. An idiot likes things that are, hit his brainstem in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And he has he's not sophisticated. He has low taste. He's not a man that should be allowed to vote. He's not a man that you would put any kind of stock in for his opinion of things, even for something as minor as, hey, is Evil Dead a good movie? But the man I am today, well spoken, articulate. Makes decisions of consequence and impact and speed. What? Okay. And the man today that sits before you understands that you shouldn't kick a soccer ball lit with fire. I've grown. I'm a grown-ass man. Bye, everybody.
Wow. That wrapped up nicely.
That was fun. Thank you. I was hoping Meredith would get here for trivia at least.
I thought
Still haven't had a live audience yet.
I kind of wanted her to experience some of it, or maybe
Yeah.
toss her voice in.
Mm-hmm.
Say, "Hi, I'm Meredith."
I'm gonna put pants on and a shirt.
No.
I know. The crowd goes mild.
And they're like, "Hey."
So that's my opinion right now. Is
Hi.
hi.
Do you want to be?
We're done. We just finished.
Say something about Evil Dead 2.
Hey, Meredith.
Great film. Loved it.
She's on our podcast.
Whoa!
Haven't seen it actually. But
Up.
Great.
Have you seen any of the Evil Deads? Have you seen a movie before?